Hey everybody, I'm Nick, your host, and I'm doing this special episode because Nintendo just had a ARMS Treehouse episode, so it's an ARMS Live Direct, and in this Direct, you could actually find it on YouTube if you type out ARMS Direct, but I'm here to tell you what the Direct talked about, and well, let's get right to it. The opening was kind of strange, and they kind of had this like background to it, and how each ARMS character woke up one day and became fighters, except one of them. But yeah, the opening was kind of weird. But in the ARMS Direct, it showed how tons of features actually, and one of them was about the weight class. And each different ARMS characters, they have different weights, so you have light, medium, and heavy. And if you're a heavy character, you can hit harder, but your arms go slower. And if you're a lighter character, your punches will go faster and hit less. So that's kind of cool that they mentioned that. And they also mentioned too, if you're the same weight class or heavier, you could actually block your opponent's hits and then attack them. So that's kind of cool. So I wonder if a lot of people are going to be a heavier class then because of that reason. And in the ARMS Direct, they actually talked about different attributes. So like different types, I guess you could say. And there's 7 of them: fire, electric, wind, ice, stun, explosion, and blind. And fire, it can knock down your opponent and give some fire damage. Electricity, it wears them out a little bit and creates an opening, so I guess you can kind of like stun them. Then we have wind, and it blows away your rival, so it knocks them back to the other side, so you can get a good hit on them that way. Ice, you can kind of freeze your opponents for like a second or two, and then slow down their movement so you can attack them. Stun, basically, just stops them in their tracks. Explosion, in the video it showed that kind of like one of the punches hit the opponents, they kind of explode, so that was kind of interesting to see. And blind, so it kind of is, it reminds me of like Mario Kart series with the squid, the ink, where you can't really see your screen. That's kind of how that is. And for different ARMS characters, there's 10 ARMS characters, and each one could have 2 different arms that are 2 different types. So for Springman, the very first guy, the guy that's on the cover with the blue hair, he could have like a fire and ice, so that's kind of cool. They can mix them up that way, play on weaknesses and strengths. So they actually talked about all the different characters, so let's get to that. And first up, we have Springman, and he has a shockwave feature, and he can unleash it to deflect attacks. And he also gets stronger when his health gets lower. So I think he's kind of like your basic, average, standard character, which is pretty nice. And he actually has 3 arms to use right off the bat: the toaster, which it's a fire attack; the boomerang, it flies in a curve and then blows the opponents away; and then tri-bolt, it shoots 3 bolts horizontally. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder how you could play on his arms against your opponents. Then we have Mechanica, which she's a character that is in a robot, like a suit, and actually pilots it. And she has a hovering ability and higher durability, so I think she's like a heavier class. And her 3 weapons are Revolver, it shoots electrified bullets; the Whammer, each hit is really heavy; and the Homie, it's like a homing launcher, it chases opponents after you use the arms and explodes, so that's kind of interesting. Then we have Ninjara. He is fast and he's a ninja, so he has ninja speed, and he can vanish and warp even when guarding. So it's gonna be crazy fighting against Ninjara. So he's kind of like Nightcrawler from X-Men, if you think about it like that. And he has his 3 weapons are The chakram, which is curved punches, buff expands as you charge and it curves, so it's heavier hits but slower. And the tri-blast, it charges up then explodes, so that's kind of like Springman's gun. Next up we have Master Mummy, and his normal punches don't phase him, and he restores health while guarding, so he's going to be a tough opponent to play. Well, not to play, to try and beat, you know. And his 3 weapons are Megaton, which is a big, heavy, and slow, and you can even charge it up and it'll get even bigger and even slower too, but deals so much more damage. Retorture, so it launches 3 shots, and Phoenix, so it's like a firebird that I guess comes out of the arms. So Master Mummy sounds like he's gonna be very difficult, in my opinion. And actually they announced 2 new characters, and one of them is Kid Cobra. He basically is like a snake, and he can charge up his person, Kid Cobra, and he could do a quick dash. So then if your opponent's about to hit you, you could dash real quick to dodge their attacks. So that's kind of cool. And his 3 guns are Slumamander, Wind Whip Power, so his arm attacks is it's a wind attack. And then we have Hydra, which launches 3 vertical shots. So that's interesting because the other character, Springman, was horizontal and Kid Cobra is vertical. And we have Cooler Ring, which is a freezing boomerang. So I mean, you know, that makes sense, the whole attributes thing. And next up we have Ribbon Girl, which she's the other character on the ARMS cover art, and she can mid-air jump multiple times and drop down quickly from above onto an opponent, so she's very fast. And her 3 guns are Sparky, causes knockdown and major damage, Popper, so it's even more faster than before, and Slapamander, so it's a fire whip, so it's kind of interesting. Next up we have Min Min. She's a martial arts master, and she can knock down opponents with punches, and her spin kicks, basically it's kind of like guarding or blocking, but she can knock down your attacks, which is going to be crazy. And her left arm transforms into a dragon, and the dragon actually fires a laser. That's one arm. Another arm is a megawatt, so it's a big heavy electric gun. And then the other one is called Ram Ram. It's a fiery curving punch, so that would be pretty interesting Min to use with the dragon arm. Next up we have a character that was recently announced, Helix. Kind of reminds me of Flubber, you know. And his entire body's stretchy, and apparently it's created by ARMS Laboratory. And so his 3 arms are Blorb, Mysterious Orb, like ink to block opponents' view. So it's the blind attribute. So you know, like the squid from Mario Kart. So it does that. And he has Ice Dragon, which obviously it just freezes you. And he has Guardian, so it's like a shield arm. So he's more on the defensive side, and his character just moves all over the place. So it's going to be pretty interesting to use Helix. Very, very different. And then we have the another character that was just announced called Bite and Bark, and it's a police and dog duo, and they're both robots. And Bark, he attacks opponents by himself, and he can also let Bite, the officer, jump up on him and then jump down on opponents. So that's kind of interesting. And their special attack, they could go together and turn into this Transformers type Voltron type Power Rangers looking thing. Bark's head goes on Bite, and they kind of fuse into one, and it's their combo attack. And their 3 weapons are Seiki. The arm chases the opponent and electrocutes them. Cracker pops off a fiery hit, so it's a fire. So we have electric and fire, and then Bub. It's a charge punch, and it goes right to the opponent. So they're pretty offensive. I kind of like Bite and Bark. And then we have the last character, Twintail. She's apparently a celebrity, but her arms are actually her pigtails in her hair. So that's pretty different. And she can actually slow down opponents' punches while charging up. And that's kind of a good idea. Twintail is going to be used by a lot of people. I can see that right now. And her three arms are Chilla, Icy Punch, Parasol, it defends attacks kind of like Helix, and Thunderbird. So whenever she punches, a bird comes out and it's electrocuting them. So that's pretty interesting about Twintail. So that was all 10 characters, and they talked about the multiplayer, how you could have battles up to 4 players. There's different modes. There's Fight, which is your normal one-on-one, and bombs and healing items drop in to use against your opponents or yourself. There's Team Fight, so 2-on-2. You can actually hit your ally on accident and deal damage to him, but both of you and your ally and then your opponents basically have the same health bar. So if you and your ally die, you guys are gone. And you could actually like get blown up together, and you actually have like a rope tied between you and your ally, so you really can't go around the entire stage without them. So that's kind of interesting. We have V-ball, which is basically volleyball, but the ball is explosive, so if it hits the ground or hits the opponent, they're, dead. And then we have hoops, which is basketball, but there's no ball. The ball is actually your opponent, so you have to grab your opponent and throw them in the basketball hoop. Kind of interesting. I like that idea. Then we have skill shot, which is like different targets are scattered in the arena, and you are versing your opponent, and whoever takes down the most targets in a lot of time wins. So it's kind of different from your average one-on-one fighting. And then we have 1-on-100. And so basically 100 enemies appear and you have to take them down and see how well you can do. Kind of cool. Like multi-man melee, I guess you could say. Or multi-man smash. And the arms test lets you try out random combinations. So that's another mode, and it's basically tons of different combinations, and you can just click on one. They're preset, I believe. I'm not sure. I didn't really look, but you could try out different combinations of arms. So you could have, like a fire and blind, or electric and ice. And as you fight in the Grand Prix, so it's kind of like the campaign mode, you can earn in-game money to buy different arms for all the characters. So that's kind of cool. Or you can unlock them just by playing. That's what the arms direct said. So after all that, they talked more about the game modes. And in one of the game modes, the campaign, the whole point is to win 10 matches in a row, and when you do, you become the champion. Then you have to fight somebody. They didn't mention who, but they just showed his backside. And there are different rules, so this match could just be one-on-one, and the next match could be the V-ball, and the next one could be hoops, and then, so on and so forth. So it's kind of interesting, makes it not feel so bland, fighting the same thing over and over. So this is what surprised me. You can actually play online, obviously, but the lobby can consist up to 10 different switches, and you can have you and your buddy on the same switch. So that's 20 players in one lobby. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So we'll basically get into matches right like in a second or two. And there's ranked matches too. And so basically you start at 99 seconds, and whoever wins either by knockout or the time, they win, like a normal ranked match game. And and have local multiplayer. So you could create a lobby of up to 8 players and 8 systems. So it's pretty nice. Final announcements. So we have in the ARMS Direct, they mentioned a few things that caught my attention. They said after the release date of ARMS, they will keep updating it and have free new fighters. So we'll have more than 10. We'll have new stages and new arms. So, new basically weapons for your characters, and it's all free, they said. So that's pretty awesome. That's really cool that Nintendo's doing it. I mean, they usually put out free DLC, but I mean, like Legend of Zelda isn't free, or like Minecraft isn't free, but I'm glad ARMS is. So, can I get a drum roll? Because here's the biggest announcement in the ARMS Direct. Like, I was kind of skeptical about getting ARMS, and I'm like, I don't know about that, because I mean, I like fighters, but it just seems really strange to me. But, so the announcement is, at the end of this month, May 26th, 27th, and 28th, and June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, you could play ARMS online on your Nintendo Switch through the global test. And May 26th and June 2nd are for North America only. And you can actually go to your Nintendo Switch right now on your eShop and download the ARMS Global Launch. I actually, right now when I was recording this, I was watching my Switch and it said download complete. So I'm excited to play it in about, 9 days. Play it online just for a global launch. That'd be pretty cool. And it doesn't come out till June 16th. So, like I said, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's the last time. And then a week after it'll be out. So, if you really like it, you can pick it up a week later. And, like I said, June 16th is the release date of ARMS. And, I'll put those dates in the description so you don't have to go back and listen. So, we also got treated with another thing for a different game, Splatoon 2. They showed some footage of it, and Splatoon 2 comes out July 21st. So we still have like more than a month away, and the whole thing was kind of like the Splatoon character was walking around, and they saw Marie drop down, like Callie and Marie. And she dropped down the sewer, and then you dropped down after her, and you talked to her, and it just showed the character doing all these different things, like I believe it's like missions or like a single player, but it seems like it's going to be some sort of like mission-based thing that you talk to Marie and she gives you some sort of points or something. I'm not really sure. It didn't say anything. They just showed a character doing all sorts of different tasks and different levels. So that's what I think is going to be. We don't know 100%, but we will fairly soon, I'd imagine. So that's it I have for you guys. I hope you enjoy this podcast again. I know it's kind of like sporadic and pretty random, but I figured I'd let everybody know about the whole ARMS Direct. So if you enjoyed it, let us know, and I hope you tune in to more podcasts by us, and stay tuned for more podcasts by Video Games and More. Thank you, and happy gaming.